recording. All right, we are good to go.
To go. Okay, what's up, guys? Lando checking in. Told you that we'll try to be consistent. We're attempting to do that. So another week, another chapter review. This time it's chapter 983, Thunder. Which is kind of a weird title considering what happened in the chapter. I could think of probably 10 different title chapters that would either imply what would happen or describe what happened. But Thunder kind of it does nail it in a sense because we know it's
Yep.
about Yamato, but it can be it can be interpreted completely different. Because when I first read this chapter, whenever I read the title, I thought it was gonna be Zeus.
Thought
Zeus
Zeus
is gonna
or
do Zeus is gonna do something to Big Mom. That was what I initially thought.
uh well, I didn't even read too much into the titles. Like, I guess when I first read it, it's a live reaction, so it's like the titles and all that.
Yeah,
It's kind of just it is
and
what
for
it
your niche as well, on the live reaction niche, like if you guys stay on a page too long, the comments slaughter you
is.
guys.
Yeah, they get mad. I still don't care though. I still stay
But you
long
know the
enough.
weird thing about it is though, I mean, if you are doing a live reaction and you are seeing something, even though you are live reacting, you're still trying to understand it yourself. So you still need time to process what's going on. But for
Exactly.
the audience, they don't want no dead here. You know what they call dead here in radio? Like no point where you're silent. You should always
Yeah.
be doing something, which is it's kind of unrealistic.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm like, yo, this is a live reaction. I'm not just gonna like speed through it and not understand what I'm
Exactly.
reading because they'll be like, bro, you missed this. You missed that.
Yeah.
I can't believe you
Yeah.
missed that. And it's like, bro, like it's
And
it's
people just
my
want you to,
it's my first
pe-
read. You know.
people just want you to get to a specific part as well. Jesus Christ. They just want you to get to
Yeah,
Yamato.
yeah. That's all they want me to get. It's you know how people are, dog. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I can't trip off that.
Um, well, for a very long time, I think since the Germs cover page, the first time I ever been interested in its cover page. So volume 29, and we're finally here where Oda wants us to be from the very beginning. Pound is here. This is by far the most interesting cover page. I think this cover page kind of symbolizes the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Because the good is that Pound is alive,
Is
and
that
he has
good?
to notice. Well, I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into that.
Uh-huh.
So, well, from a moral standpoint, it's good.
Mm.
He has no noticeable scars, no amputations, which is kind of weird because he was sliced by oven. You'd at least
And he
expect
was
no
sliced from
amputation
the back.
on the
I mean,
back.
so
So probably can't see it. Zoro will disapprove because
mm-hmm.
it's sliced from the back, the swordsman.
Swordsman shame.
So Pauno meets his daughters and his grandchild, Pez, by the way, which it was unfortunate enough not to be available in their life for this
Yeah.
entire time. It's just kind of a happy ending stuff, but their
Uh,
narrative. Go
nah,
ahead.
go ahead. Nah, I was saying like a happy ending isn't always necessary.
Yeah, but let me get to that in terms of why
Mm-hmm.
about the bad. So there's narrative consequences for this. And Oda don't get away with it. And again, the consequences for bringing someone that we perceive to be dead alive,
Yeah.
even more so in the fact that we're in an arc where death and tragedy should be it should be a more needed ingredient that makes the war truly spectacular as we want it to actually be.
Yeah.
Oda have created this, or rather, he has fueled this skepticism in terms of where we view sacrificial deaths or deaths in general that would be mostly used to serve as a escapism for characters who are in danger. Like for Pound, now he sacrificed himself against Oven. And if every time situation like that happens, we have to assume that the person isn't dead. Before we can even appreciate what they have done, we're probably in the back of our mind saying, we know he's not dead. So it doesn't really mean anything.
I think for me, I thought like the pound thing was. I think he went out amazing. You know, when he
Yeah, he
sacrificed
did.
himself for his family. Even though they didn't know who he was, it was like, yo, this is the
Mm-hmm.
perfect way for Pound to go out. So now for Pound to still be alive, it kind of reeks of just Oda wanting that happy ending, that reunion, no matter what.
Yep.
And it kind of takes away from that moment for me personally. Some people they aren't too bothered by it, but for me, I'm just like, man, that was a spectacular way for Pound to go out. It's like, it's not as bad as Pedro coming back, but still, it's
Oh.
you know.
Just you wait. It
Mhm.
seems like the only way that we can, I feel like the only way that we can actually accept a death, at least in its immediate present, is if we can go in the story ourselves and do an autopsy and confirm that the person's dead. Otherwise,
Mhm.
than that, Oda will forever have a way that brings people back. Trust me. It's- well,
That is true.
and for the ugly, I mean, Pound is just ugly. I mean, I have no idea why Big Mom wanted Pound genes to be in the family gene pool. I have no idea.
He is pretty large, so maybe Big Mom is
Yeah.
just trying to cultivate a large
When you
family.
do you know where it looks from a female perspective? If as a woman you somewhat value Pound's genes over Kaido, in saying that Big Mom don't have a child for Kaido,
I think she just hates Kaido a lot. That's
hates
the only
Kaido a
thing.
lot.
Yeah,
Well,
she hates him.
well, I like to say that I would like to be the son of Kaido instead of the son of Pound. I'm just saying that. Anyway, Pound is in bliss right now. He's in the best moment of his life, I would imagine. It's good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna like, as a One Piece fan, you're gonna enjoy these moments, right? But I think
Mhm.
it's also just in the back of your mind, you're like, I don't know how he lived,
Exactly.
but I think in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important. It's just
It's not that important.
it is what it
The
is.
only the only consequence is that is the individual in question who failed to kill him. Like in this case, it's Oven, where you're like, is Oven really
So it
that
goes
strong?
back to the competence of Big Mom's family.
Yep. Speaking about competence, the first page is the man who I presume, in terms of being competent, I would probably say he's near the categories level in that regard, or probably right there.
He's gotten a lot
Pearl,
done.
Pearl.
He's
Yeah,
gotten a lot done.
he's gotten a lot done. And actually, when you look at Pearl's story in terms of how narrative's been portrayed, Oda really got out of his way to save this guy because he could have died with Pedro. That could have been a
Yes.
great sacrifice
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Pedro. But Oda kept him in the story, and I would say that was a good decision because he's been amazing so far.
Um, I think it just always goes back to uh, the time and the
Hmm.
timeline in regards to them remaining in one place for such a long time,
Hmm.
and of course, part of it is they were worried about King, etc. But personally, I felt like with Pedro's abilities, Smoothie's abilities, Daifuku, like they should be able to combat one person, right? But
Let's
of
be
course,
real here.
it's
Mm,
it's it's the King does hold the advantage of flight, but
mm,
from what I can remember, Daifuku's genie can fly as well, or can float,
exactly.
whatever, right? And Smoothie, she can send ear slashes. It should be a lot. And what's his name? Mondor. He has his book. He can create whatever he wants to create.
Hmm.
So, that's my only thing. Of course, Perospero and his competence, that's not in question here. I think
Hmm.
it was a way for Oda to keep the Big Mom Pirates out of the story
I
for a
agree.
while, and
Yep.
of course to kind of bring about this moment where Perospero is going off on his own, which
Hmm.
is going to lead to like some major shit going on in regards to this alliance.
Hmm. Going back to the King moment, I made a thread on Twitter where I went back and read that moment after I think it was chapter 930 or 931 and 934. Those three chapters where we got information on Big Mom and the pirate crew. If you go back to the chapter where King kicks Big Mom off, King didn't even travel with his sword. So when so when
Yeah,
the Big Mom pirate said we can't do anything to King when he's there, King is only reliant on his aerial abilities. He can't
yeah,
even fight,
yeah,
which just made things even more insane.
yeah. It just feels a bit contrived, and
Exactly. Is it like the most obvious narrative gag
yeah,
I've ever
yeah,
used just
yeah.
to keep someone at bay?
Yeah, yeah. So that's the only thing. I mean, I love what Perospero is doing here, and I even
Mhm.
plan on talking about it in a separate thing where just talking about
Yeah.
how this is
Mhm.
going to lead to some major shit because not only because he's a big mom pirate, but because he's the eldest son, right?
Yep.
And if the eldest son is doing something off on his own that is going to basically sabotage this alliance, is people are going to believe it. And I was
Mhm.
when I talked about the chapter, I compared him to Shia Poof in a way, um, where uh, he feels like he knows best, and he feels like
Yes.
this is an alliance that is not going to benefit the Big Mom Pirates, and the Big Mom Pirates they need to reign supreme. They're superior. They should be superior to everyone. As Shia Poof felt like the king is a superior
Yes,
being.
Miriam was indeed the being that should rule the world.
Yeah.
Um, Let me throw out some ideas here. So, what was the reason why you believe that Perospero couldn't actually do this at the very beginning when King knocked them off? Don't you believe that like that's like the people's go-to interpretation here? Like, why didn't you do this at the very beginning? What was stopping Oda from having Perospero get this done? Timing,
Uh,
narrative.
well, in regards to Perospero and the King, I'm not sure if it's something. It was hinted towards, in like back in Luffy versus Katakuri, back before they fought, at
Mhm.
Perospero and Fire, in some way.
Yes,
It's
okay, that's a very good point.
right. It's like a
His
counter to
weakness.
right.
Yeah.
So for him, if he had tried to do something, it's probably not stopping King in that
Mm.
instance, right? I think um, it's probably incumbent upon the others. Where I feel like it's like Perospero could save them. I mean, of course, he didn't save Big Mom, but he could save them. But
Mhm.
he can't combat King in particular. But I think another thing here is Perospero. Maybe he took this opportunity because he got separated from everyone right after they
Possible.
fell off again, and he's like, you
Mm.
know what, fuck it, I'm going off by myself. This alliance is bullshit. You know.
And let's just speak about the fact that Oda once again is putting Smoothie in the background in regards to authority. Because technically, Smoothie should be the person with the most authority besides Katakuri and Big Mom. But yet, still, we have seen numerous persons, including Mountain Door and Perospero, even Daifuku for a certain time, were in charge of a group or a situation or leading an execution mission or at least being proactive more than Smoothie, who's more so just she's more subservient.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of knocks how we feel about Smoothie in a way, and it plays into that again, the feminine, submissive, older female stereotype stuff.
Yeah.
Because to be true here, Smoothie should pretty much be able to check Perospero if he did inquire to go on his own. She
Well,
does have the
yeah.
authority to actually do that.
Yeah, I think this goes back to just Oda and women and authority. It's I mean
Yeah.
it's I don't want to always like bring up that thing and kind of
But
just
it's a
make it
thing.
like
It's
the only reason why these things happen, but I don't know how you can't, right? Like Smoothie is the second commander. Should be she should
yes.
have like the
Yeah, more power
authority
than Perospero.
than Paris Sparrow, but she's just whatever Big Mom wants, but it's like she's a soldier
Exactly.
through and through, but I'm not sure if she's a leader.
No, she's not.
All right, that's
One
the
more thing
thing.
about this, and this is just to drive home the point that Oda have been immensely inconsistent with the travel distance compared to the timing of how people get from one destination in one country to another. This is insane. For those who don't know, Perospero climbed the waterfall, which is all the way in the southeast of Kuri.
Mm-hmm.
Onigashima is actually, I think, all the way to the south. So Perospero practically he closed some immense distance to get where he is right now. And considering the fact that we haven't even seen Marco Nekomushi arrive,
Yeah,
you can't justify why Perospero made it there close to their arrival or even at the same time. That is insane.
it's difficult because Oda, with the next couple panels, he's trying to indicate that time has passed. Um, I'm not
Yeah.
sure like how much time. I'm not sure like Perisboro's travel speed. I mean, he wasn't fast enough to catch up with the Straw Hats in their
Mm,
ship. So I don't.
no.
It's a weird
Especially
thing.
especially when you understand the fact that he most likely have to wait down for the koi fish to pull him up the waterfall. I would imagine.
Yeah.
But still, it is pretty insane that he gets there that fast. And that brings me to another point to support the idea that characters that are not in Onigashima right now, like um Tenguya Maitetsu, Amiyori, due to
Yeah.
the fact that Oda can bring anyone at Onigashima such a such a short time,
Yeah.
it's not hard to argue that they could probably make it here in time to actually be up some has some significance
Yeah,
because Perospero is here in literal minutes.
yeah,
He's seen on Nagashima, so
yeah.
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, the time that's been a thing for Wano where it's like it's not quite clear as far as like how much time is passing. So we just have to kind of guess, and I think it's been a few hours they've been fighting. Because looking at Zoro, he is already separated from Luffy.
Yeah, which is
Um,
another thing that I am going to talk
yeah,
about as well.
yeah. So it's like just gotta run with it, take it for what it's worth, I guess.
Okay, but just for just to summarize, Oda have been really bad with the travel distance in one country. Really, really bad.
I
Big
remember
Mom
like the
Chopper,
big mom chopper thing took a while.
days, bro. While
A
at the
while.
same time, Motoko and Zoro and Iori could run from Ringo to the Ritsubi district in the floor capital
Yeah, they
in
got
mere
the flower
minutes.
capital
They
pretty
got
quickly.
it. And she outruns Zoro too. The little girl runs Zoro.
Hey,
Oh, that is insane. But anyway, it is it is a show. It's a shonen series. It's okay.
yeah, it is what it
So
is.
so the pleasure hall and the mountain part Onigashima. So we have Usopp and Chopper pretty much saying that Big Mom ran off in Nami's way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pretty much doing the exact same thing Nami did to them, where they're not really that focused on trying to stop Big Mom because of course they can't do it.
Yeah.
But the most interesting thing here is that they speak about some weird transformation that the on the bronchial tank did, which is there's two hypotheses here. One is more interesting than the other in terms of the fact that Big Mom may have turned into a homie.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one here that implies that even though Big Mom is very strong, the Brachio Tank 5 is made of Wapo metal
Mm-hmm.
and is very, very strong. So again,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
really.
I saw that theory about Big Mom turning into a homie on Twitter.
Mm,
I think it's a good thought, a good idea, but I
yes, it
don't think
is.
Big Mom was referencing that group in particular.
Yeah.
I think um, she was talking about the others, and then based on the transformation, we know Frankie's uh his things can
I'm Shogun Army
transform. Yeah,
General.
Shogun Journal
Yeah.
Shogun says like I just think it's just a transformation it did because of Frankie's thing, not because
Hmm.
and I think not because of Big Mom per se.
Well, what did I want to hear from Oda was that what could have told me if it was a homie or not was if Chopper and Usopp indicated if they were in control of the direction that it's going. If
Right.
they are, it's a transformation. But if they aren't, it means that Big Mom is either controlling it or is going where she wants to actually go.
But one thing that
Since
we know, like
mm,
Oda is he likes being vague.
yes,
You know what
yep.
I'm saying? He likes being vague, so I think this is on purpose.
But then again, there's another question: why did Big Mom leave them? Is it because Nami's priority? I mean, ugh.
I don't know. I don't know.
I have no idea. But to be fair to Big Mom, Kaido did get a chance to kill Otama when he left her. So I mean, it's kind of a Yonko dumb thing to be incompetent. But anyway, yeah, Kaido, he had Otama dead to right and left her in the wasteland. I mean, he didn't even bring her. He
Yeah,
brought speed,
about
which is
speed.
crazy. Which is crazy thing that speed is more important than Otama, which is ridiculous. Anyway, we have inside the pleasure hall. You can see the big hole that Big Mom made in the wall to get out. She's insanely big. So,
Yeah,
anyways, the Big Mom says, "Don't rush. The performance for is just ahead. There's no escape for them." And of course, she's talking about Nami's group. But performance hall could that be where Queen is? Yes, because again, the translation of the front pretty much confirms it, which is one thing I like about Viz. It's very straightforward and accurate because
yeah,
in the scans, we have no idea she was talking about. She was talking about where Queen was or somewhere else, but
yeah,
no, it's pretty much confirmed.
yeah.
So Nami's en route to exactly where Momonosuke is.
Mm-hmm.
And this next scene is kind of confusing too. Just oh god, I'm the incompetence, bro. So Prometheus the Sun. Prometheus, who we have seen achieve feats like I think he was the one that Big Mama used. I think it was him that almost he caught Reiju off guard and he almost burned Reiju. And Prometheus is much more aggressive than Zeus. But here, instead of attacking, he's calling Big Mom. Why?
Yeah. Yeah,
Why not I just when it's attack?
he's turned back into his like, happy.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
I
like
think this is like a One Piece thing where it's just
mm,
a comedic runaway scene. Like
mm,
the anime is gonna just make him probably go back and forth. Where
yeah,
when he's talking to Big Mom, he's
he's
happy,
calm. Yeah.
right? And when he's like chasing them in particular, he's gonna probably transform back.
And doesn't Nami have like Wither Eggs cool ball that can make water? What if she just
Yeah.
burn? It's like the reason she's here to defeat this guy is like he's not big of a threat, to be quite honest.
Seemingly no, but enough for them to run away.
Yeah, so they're trying to get them to the performance stage as possible. Like he's trying to make everyone rendezvous at Momonosuke's execution.
Yeah.
So anyway, this next scene is pretty great. So they said they spot Sanji earlier, and I like old Sanji isn't the Google eyes. He's not speaking about ladies in the context of exploitation. He's kind of like, I'm gonna find some
Yeah.
ladies, which
Yeah.
could imply that he's more in a serious mood.
Yeah, it's a serious
Yeah,
thing.
compared to before.
Mm.
So anyway, Nami, which in case you guys don't remember, Nami's one persona was actually to be a Konoichi. So her trying to find Momonosuke is kind of in line with that. Uh, I'm kind of in line with that Konoichi type
Yeah, with her
persona.
and
Yeah, I
Shinobu.
mean, yeah, Shinobi. So that's keeping true to their respective jobs in a sense.
Yeah.
In the same sense, when Luffy and Zoro are Ronins and they're pretty much wanted by Queen,
Yeah.
which is what Ronins are pretty much doing Wonderland. So Big Mom is having her, she's turning homies, which again, I mean, it's pretty cool, but again, are they needed? I mean,
Um, bro, it's
oh, outside
this.
of Zeus, Prometheus, and Napoleon, is any Omi actually competent?
Ooh, no, not really. Not from what we've seen, at least.
Nope. Let me draw your attention back to Capone when he was speaking at the entrance of the tea party where I remember the door was seeing what they were saying and seeing Caesar.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
cut that door down in like minutes. Like that shit don't even matter. That shit don't even matter. Bro, this shit is so stupid. It don't even matter. That door get cut off in like a minute. So I doubt if anyone would struggle with these homies. But anyway,
the homies are not issues. The only
they're
ones are like just Prometheus because you can
eh,
get him.
yeah, exactly. And they're actually big mom soul as well. So
Yeah,
they're of a different they have a
different
different
caliber.
grade.
Yeah.
Yep. So the performance floor, Skull Dome, Shogun Orochi, the preparations are complete. And this is where I kind of hate the Viz translation for this. So Queen says, all right, listen up, you scallywags. I mean, the
Nobody
scans
talks
that
like that.
exactly. It's just not relatable in the modern
Yeah.
lexicon. It's not a part of a lexicon in today's
Yeah.
society. What Queen says in the scans was much more appropriate. You sons of bitches. It just
Yeah.
makes sense. It's more
Yeah.
aggressive, more masculine. It's
But
more
as
authoritative.
Viz, they're
Mm,
like they're trying to
yeah.
be cookie cutter and just like really
Yes.
commercial, and they're
Exactly. And
catering
they
to the
always
young kids, and it's like it really takes away from the serious the
yes.
tone of this entire thing, and just how some of these characters they speak like children, right? Listen up, you
Yep.
scallywags. I understand they're pirates, but like
Yeah.
scallywags just doesn't translate for. I mean, especially for
Mhm.
the Western audience, it's like,
Especially for a pirate group like the Beast Pirates.
yeah, like scallywags. Yeah,
So anyway, Queen is for some reason it's like for some reason no one is serious about what's going on. Queen literally saw two of his two most top prisoners, his two top prisoners got completely freed, and Babanuki's words can't be trusted, but yet still his priority is here. I would have probably wanted more interest from Queen in terms of what's going on in Udan.
yeah,
But anyway, Oda have turned Queen to an MC again, and he's declaring what's going on with Orochi, and Orochi is telling them that the guy in front of them, the boy,
yeah.
is Kozuki Momonosuke, the son of Odin, and of course everyone is shocked, which is kind of weird because I would imagine that they would remember him since some of Kaido's Beast Pirates members did remember the Scabbards when they saw them on the boat.
I wonder if this may
Um,
be a bad thing, them revealing this information, because I wonder how many of the Beast Pirates are literally citizens from Wano, right? Where that they just,
oh,
you know what I
that's
mean?
a very good point, and to make that point even clearer too. And if you remember what happened in Udon, where Ugura said the reason why Luffy being Udon is the great thing was the concentration of the people that kind of captured that resentful against him is
Yeah.
there.
Hmm.
So I wonder if Oda is doing somewhat of a parallel here where maybe most most wanted citizens, because they lack actual confirmation of Momonosuke being alive.
They just switched to Kaido's side.
Exactly, to
But
Kaido's side. But now that
now
he's here,
it,
yes,
it
it's
may
like
have like the backwards effect where they think it's a rallying
exactly.
cry, but they're really like unifying
Mhm.
the alliance for the Kazuki clan.
That's a very good idea, bro. I never even thought of that. That's a very good idea. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
yeah, it would be
So
great.
there's some possibilities here that could make Momonosuke escape here. Many people are saying
The,
that he could.
I think the people. I mean, if it turns out the way we were expecting, I think the people could help him escape. You know, some of
Mm,
the Beast Pirates that are there, because I mean, it's kind of. I mean, obviously he's not gonna die here. It would
no,
be
no,
interesting if he did, but he's not
he's not
gonna
gonna die.
die.
What's more interesting is that this hasn't caught the attention of the people that I think it would caught the attention of, like Kaido. I mean, Kaido should be here for some
Well, I
reason.
think the people that I really wish they caught the attention of, who doesn't seem who Oda is a genius, right?
Mhm,
Because it's he set up this personality of Queen, whereas Queen is shown to be nonchalant, like he's always in control, like it doesn't matter what's
mhm,
going on, I'm gonna do what I need to do, right?
mhm,
The two people that would not go for the shit that's going on at all,
mhm.
seemingly, are King and Jack,
Yeah,
right? Where if they saw Luffy, Zoro, Kid, and fucking Killer sneaking
Killer-
away,
exactly,
they are going after them, right?
exactly
And
my point.
so with Queen, and even like it's almost like whatever, it is what it is. Like,
Mhm.
you know, we don't they don't matter anyway. Where I feel like for Jack and King, they're more so just like, man, it does not matter. They should not be free. I'm gonna go capture
E-
them right now.
Exactly. And it goes back to King saying to Queen at the very introduction, what's taking him so long to bear the spirit of these brats.
Yeah,
So Queen is more, he's more relaxed. And again, it goes into his personality, what he said at Oden as well, that time and plague. I think he said time and numbers are what makes a plague.
yeah,
So he more likes to draw things out in terms of Queen and Jack that are more in your face direct. Let's solve the issue here and now. So anyway, we move on to Zoro, and he's inside the castle, and he's having somewhat of, a lot of people interpret this as him having some issues, which I don't really agree with or disagree with. I mean, clearly we underestimated the gifters, and we probably overestimate how strong we think Zoro would have dealt with these guys. But to be fair, we have no idea how many gifters you have dealt with so far.
yeah,
And to be quite fair, Oda did give Zoro the short stick because he's completely separated from everyone else. At least Luffy and Kid are somewhat in the same vicinity because Yamato run past Kid, and Luffy can't be that far for Yamato to make it to Luffy at the same time when he run past Kid. It
yeah.
was much earlier. So Zoro seems to be completely different, somewhere different towards himself. And then the dialogue here is very, very interesting because I've never heard anyone say to Zoro before. They assume that Zoro shall become the Pirate King, which is kind of it is weird. It's a good assumption, but it's just what we know about the series about or the fact Zoro has no interest in that. It makes me chuckle.
Oh, you think? Well, I get what you're saying. Where they talked about the King and the
Yeah,
Pirates.
yeah, they
Well,
kind of.
were they talking about Zoro specifically, or just like the group going against Kaido?
It could be the group,
Yeah.
but I think they're projecting their previous goals onto Zoro by
On
saying that
yeah,
we
yeah.
all dream of being the Pirate King at once.
Right, right. I guess these are former captains.
Yes, they're former captains, which gives more depth to Kaido's crew that even the gifters. Well,
Yeah,
let me say this, bro. Even though they had the ambition to become Pirate King, when you really think about it, they're pretty much scrubs
yeah.
because
They're gifters.
they're gifters. But you have to understand that before they joined Kaido's crew and before the insurgent of the Flamingo and Caesar, they didn't have this power. So they
Yeah,
were less stronger
they're like
than that
a
they
lot
were
weaker
now.
than. Yeah, so there may have been
Yes,
grunts that like wanted to be
e-
pirate king of pirates anyway.
exactly.
Yeah,
So I don't think these are the guys that Kaido would most likely recruit from the New World. These are just guys that
He needed for like his army
needed exact numbers.
numbers. Yeah.
They don't strike me in the same sense that Hozu's and Sasaki. Weird. Those guys strike me as they might have attempted to beat Kaido once and then lost.
Yeah.
These
Or
guys
the
more so
commanders.
strike me as yes.
These guys
These
fought
guys
sheep's head.
these guys strike me as individual that what's the guy's name that reads the bounty? He said it in chapter
Brand new.
957. Yes, he said that people follow Kaido because he's strong.
Yeah.
These guys strike me as those guys.
So like
They just follow
the
Kaido.
Manjaros and
Yeah,
the
they just
Mara
follow him.
Black.
Yeah, they don't really. They weren't being into submission like I would expect Hozu's and Sasaki to have been beaten into
They
submission.
just
These guys,
surrendered.
precisely. They were the Hawkins instead of the kid type. They're more sort of say, you know what, fuck it. And for those who don't remember, but this big guy in the middle, this huge guy, he's a gift. I'm not he's a headliner. Yeah, you think he first appeared in chapter 979, 980, but he was one of the he's the headliner basically, and I would assume that he's the big one here that's always gonna have the most trouble with.
I don't know if they're gonna have trouble with any of these guys. To be
I'm
honest,
gonna
with
have trouble with him, but I mean, I don't want to underestimate the headliners because again, Luffy Red Hawk hold him and he got up like in 10 minutes, which is insane.
I think Oda goes out of his way to show the prominent ones, and those guys, those even still, they're no match for like what's a basic Luffy, like just just Luffy
around.
not using any gears, base level Luffy, like nothing, right? So these people should not be any trouble. I mean, the only thing is that it's like a lot of them, right?
Yes.
That's the only thing that's gonna cause the issue, not them individually.
That's fair. And again, there are also a replenished group, so once you defeat a bunch of them come as well, which can get really annoying.
Right.
And plus, you have to understand that even though they are weak, they do have individual abilities that you must take in consideration.
Yeah, people trying to power scale this moment, and I'm just like,
well, people are gonna do that anyway.
I'm like, it's nothing. It's nothing there. There's nothing you can observe.
My motto to all this war is that listen, do not draw permanent conclusion from temporary situation. They're gonna be a lot of temporary situation here where people are gonna look much weaker than they're supposed to be and much stronger than they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try to power scale that moment. Then the next moment comes and we're gonna completely be wrong. So just at least wait for us considerable amount of time before we make that assumption.
Yeah.
Like for instance, the next scene where people are saying that because Kid and Killer together, Oda is implying that Zoro is worthy of finding them by himself when they aren't. Which again, it's an insane assumption. It's like it is weird. But moving on to the next scene now with Kid and Killer.
Mm-hmm.
The Kid seems more relaxed. He's not fighting against entire gifters. He's fighting more so amongst the pleasures and waiters, which again is somewhat of a contradiction. And I wonder if Oda sometimes remembers on the dialogue what he said before. When Quaid made the announcement that these four individuals, Zoro, Kid, Killer, and Luffy, were to be hunted, the pleasure said, we shouldn't even try because we have no chance.
Yeah.
But no, they are. Well, but no, they're trying. Like, it's like, what changed?
To be fair, those are a few of them. Maybe some others felt like,
yeah, okay.
So those are the logical ones that were like,
those are the lazy ones who were like,
yeah,
I'm gonna try.
Man, let's just enjoy the drink. These guys, maybe these guys got too much liquor into them and were like, yo, let's go make.
They stand no chance, bro.
Yeah, come on.
They stand no chance.
Like, no chance at all.
So everyone is competing for this Toboropo spot. It's not just the gifters anymore. The pleasurers, the waiters, they're all going in.
Yeah.
And so there's an important dialogue here where Oda separates Heat's group, which is pretty interesting because Heat and Wire has your disguises, which could mean something big. Could mean something big going forward because they could be a spy. They could blend in well and accomplish something. But I would like to see them fight because Heat and Wire have no real noticeable feats at all. They need some, especially Heat.
Yeah, they really don't have any feats. I
They don't have
mean,
any feet.
they literally haven't done anything in the story.
Yep,
Like
yep,
nothing at all.
nothing at all. There's an interesting dialogue here that at first when you read it doesn't make any sense, but when you see what happened afterwards, you're like, yeah, I get it. So the dialogue says, "Wait, sir, Master Kaido looking for you," and the individual said, "Don't concern yourself with me. Just let me go." And Kid has a badass line. Kid line was actually great in the scans where he's like, um, ignore me and die, or I think he said something very cocky. He
Yeah,
said something very cool. He said something like ignore me and die, or miss me and die. Some
I
it
think
was a very
I forget exactly what it said, but it was better in the actual
it
thing.
was better. It was better than in the scans. But here he
Hmm.
says, lose focus around me and you die. Which
Yeah,
you see him pretty much one shot these guys. And so we move on to Luffy's side inside the castle. And this is actually pretty great. Somebody made a comment, bro, that actually cracks me up. Somebody
what
made a
happened?
comment, Brago, that it cracks me up, bro. The individual said that Ulti survived the stairs.
Ulti survived the stairs.
Survived the stairs, bro. If you understand that as a One Piece
Yep.
fan, then you pretty much get what we're trying to say here about women and stairs.
Oh shit,
He survived the stairs. That is
that she
insane.
did.
She did.
That's a. I mean, it's a feat, right?
It is a feat compared to what we know about stairs and a certain individual. That's a feat. But anyway, she's completely insane. She's in love with Page One, but yet still abuse him.
Yeah,
And she's accusing Luffy of doing what she did, which is pretty insane because everyone saw her ride this man down like a sledge.
yeah,
But anyway, so Luffy got his signature Kaizoku on him come King of the Pirates.
yeah.
This actually is pretty insane because Ulti made a 180 here. When we first met Ulti, she's not the one that is more so against Kaido's rulership,
She was
which she
brazen.
questions him more exactly. But here, she immediately defends his honor.
Well, I was just. I felt some from her initial introduction. I was
Mhm.
comparing her to Baby Five,
Yes.
where they were really brazen. They talk a lot of shit. Baby Five was even attacking
The flamingo at the
Doflamingo,
beginning.
but she was defending him because it was kind of like, oh, he needs me. That's her whole gag.
Yes.
But like for Alti, I got the same vibe from her. So for her defending Kaido to this level, it's like, okay, it makes sense. It
Yes.
definitely makes sense. I think she shot up a lot of people's like favorite character board this
Y-
chapter as
Yeah.
well. Especially being a woman. Um,
Oh God.
it's I don't know the last time we've seen a woman be, and this is crazy how this is such a minor moment, right? As far as
Mhm.
like she didn't even accomplish anything for the most part,
Yes.
but because she had the tenacity, she had the
Hmm.
wherewithal, and she was impressive enough to the point where Luffy was about to go to Gear Fourth. It's like we need more capable females in One
Hmm.
Piece, right? Like it's always to the point where like the women in One Piece, they like that's why I hated what happened with Black Maria. Like her just like,
Hmm.
oh, I just want to be
Yeah.
next to you, Kaido. It's like
Yep.
she could be redeemed in the future, of course, where
Hmm.
it's like she could do something. But I'm just really weary of this because of Smoothie, right?
Hmm.
And it's like with Alti going in the way she did in this chapter, I was loving it. I was loving it.
Okay, so she did three things here that kind of breaks down or that deconstruct all this typical female portrayal. One, she was proactive. She attacked first. Two, she didn't have some traditional female type attack pattern. She used a very masculine method of fighting, headbutts, which is actually pretty insane.
Yeah, yeah,
And three, she was actually aware and actually kind of humble enough to acknowledge Luffy, which is something that female characters don't really do.
yeah,
They're pretty much always they're always pretty much not really aware, and they always I'm trying to find the right word to put towards it, but they're never really
They,
that
they never show the I guess the level of awareness where it's like, all right, I can acknowledge someone's strength. Like you see this
yes,
with like dominant shonen characters where it's like they acknowledge the other person's strength with like the men do this, right? This is like a manly
yes,
thing to do where all right, like now let's have a manly fight. Ulti
exactly.
acknowledging Luffy's power is like, all right, now let's go. Now let's
And it
really go at it.
and the thing that I wanted to say in terms of where I couldn't find words is that she didn't expect any special favors or expect any loss where Luffy would be more sympathetic towards her because most girls really do expect men when they come situations to them to be soft.
Yeah.
She actually said, you know what? He's a real deal. I'm gonna take him seriously.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
assumed the worst. She assumed that he's very dangerous, which is pretty good.
That's what you like to
Um,
see.
yeah, that's what we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Just a minor detail here. The guys around Luffy that's fighting, they all have kabutos, which is the weapon that Kaido used. I think it's called a kabuto, right? It's called a kabuto. I think that's
Uh,
the name of Kaido's weapon. Let me Google
Kabuto
it.
is it a Kabuto or a mace? I don't know.
Let me just make sure.
A Kabuto, I know is a Pokemon.
Okay, so it wields a giant metal kabat,
What is it?
kanabo.
Kanabo?
It's a
A,
kanabo,
a Kanabo weapon.
it's a
Okay, that's what you're
kanabo.
saying. All right, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I
But the
kind of
reason
picture
why
it.
the reason why I highlight this, the reason why highlight this is, does it take away from the uniqueness of Kaido having a weapon if everyone has it
I think it's them just wanting they're showing.
to be like him?
Yeah, I want to be like Mike. That's all it is.
Because
They're wearing Kaido shoes. That's all.
because one thing that actually makes me love Katakuri and Oki Island was that while Cracker had a sword, Smoothie had a sword, Lady Amanda have a sword, Katakuri had a different and unique weapon. He had the Trident, which was pretty unique, stood out, was powerful, named weapon. And I also imagine the same for Kaido. Seeing everyone has this weapon, it's like kind of takes away
Yeah,
from what it
it's
would
like
make it
maybe Kaido
special.
has like his Kabuto shop where it's like he sells them.
He sells them. Maybe,
But
but everyone has them, which is kind of weird. But anyways, so they're up there, they're kind of about there, and ulti, yeah, and next thing as well, is this no, I wouldn't say it's the first time. This is the first time since Rob Lucci where Oda's has made a devil fruit off of a unique fighting style. Where the only factor that I think Oda makes devil fruit for instead of zones is a cool factor. Where once they look cool, it's pretty good, but here Ulti being a pack of Asaurus, it makes sense with their headbutt fighting style because again
well,
they have giant skulls.
Oda's continuing this thing of
Hmm.
the chicken and the egg,
Hmm.
um, where you see a devil fruit user
Hmm.
and their personality, and the devil fruit
Hmm.
matches really well. And you
Yes,
can't help but think about, all right, are they influenced by the devil fruit power, or
are therefore power
with
influenced by them.
right, or was it just destiny, where like they were supposed to get this power because of their personality? Like go back to Doflamingo, goes back to Magellan, now Alti is like these people. They seem to, uh, I guess, reflect their powers in a
Yes,
crazy way with the Aokiji, Akainu, Ace. It's like it just it goes really well. And of course, I'm sure Oda makes the character first, and then he's like, all right, this power goes in, and the personality it aligns. But I it's in a way, if Oda came out and said that Devil Fruit users were influenced by their Devil Fruit power, um, it would not be a retcon or a plot hole because we've seen
very interesting
personalities
example.
match up all the time in regards to devil fruit power, right? It's just been a thing. So for Alti, showing that she's really headstrong with the whole Kaido thing, not caring about how Kaido feels, she's gonna say how she feels no matter what, you
Hmm.
know. And now with her devil fruit power, and then she's using primarily like headbutts, it just
Hmm.
it's a perfect blend for me.
Exactly, makes a lot of sense. And for
Yeah.
those who don't understand what I talk about with Rob Lucci is that Rob Lucci was a carnivorous type, and his Dark Justice makes a lot of sense because carnivorous type are very aggressive.
Yeah,
So I
they
came at
are.
this same thing on the argument that which one came first is personality because of liver fruit because of his personality.
Yeah,
So Altair is pretty much the same thing where, as you said, she's headstrong, she's combative, headbutts, and liver fruit pretty much matches that. Uh,
yeah, yeah. It
matches
it,
that a
it
lot.
all it all matches up. That's why it's so great. That's why Ulti's moving up my list, man. As far as like
Yeah,
my favorite
she,
characters in Wano.
and again, hybrid form is great. She's bipedal, meaning she's on two legs. For those who don't know,
Yeah,
bipedal actually means that she's actually in two legs.
yeah,
And again, the design is proportionate.
yeah. It's
She
not some
looks
that's no
great.
weird shit.
Exactly, it looks very good.
Something in regards to Zoan powers here that's cool that Oda introduced, and I think it was kind of it was clear, but I think Oda is making it more clear in regards to
Hmm.
Zoans that your hybrid is probably your best combative form, right? Where
Hmm.
it's like that's where you can you're more versatile in this form, right?
Yes, that's the word that I think people should use more.
Yeah.
Versatile.
Um, but I think the physically strongest form is your full
Full
Zoan form, right?
Yes.
Where I think Smoothie, if you're going back to like fighting games, this was a combo that she used on Luffy, where
Mm,
I go hybrid. You know, you get a gauge for my strength in my hybrid form. Then
hmm.
I basically go full Zoan, and by that point I've trapped you. Now I'm going in for another like headbutt,
But
right? Where it's like the first attack that she used was weaker than the one she was going in for against Luffy.
yep,
So she was going for like the kill shot here with the ulti meteor. This was like
that would have been
this
crazy.
was almost like Queen's Brachio bomb, where she's like, "All right, I got you now. I'm in my physically strongest form." Luffy can get out of it, and Luffy's a physical monster, by the
Yep.
way. And she's about to go for the ulti meteor. So I personally, if Luffy would have gotten hit by that, I
He
don't know.
power probably knocked out. But the most the, okay, so when it comes down to zones, people always use the lack of hybrid form in terms of saying if a character does use a hybrid where they get defeated. It's a plausible deniability that says that well, they were at their strongest. Examples are like Odin versus Kaido, where people think Odin couldn't really beat Kaido if it wasn't quote unquote hybrid, which again isn't really true. There is evidence that suggests that hybrid form are indeed stronger. Right? I think Rob Luger said to Luffy, if you remember what happened to him in his hybrid form, when he tried to scare Luffy.
Yeah,
So there are evidence that suggests a hybrid form is indeed the strongest form. But I don't think strength is really the word. It's more so versatility, where the
yeah,
characters utilize both their arms, their fighting style, and be bipedal, which means that they can run on two legs, which makes them much more adjustable to fighting people like humans, long arms,
yeah.
and long legs.
It's
Yeah,
going back because
mm,
I had mentioned this as well with Zoans, and
mhm.
we saw a Zoan and Jack fight the Minks, right?
Yes,
The
that's a
Dukes.
great example.
Um, but we know that Jack fought for 5 days
5 days.
with basically no help, just by himself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Of course, he had the undead army that was just like taking up everybody else, but he was fighting the Dukes by himself. They were switching in and out. Um, and for the most part, from what we saw in the anime, he was in his full
Base.
Zoan form, right?
Yeah, it
He's
started
in
off
his base in his full Zoan. So it's like, I think for Jack, he understands that that battle was a battle of endurance. So
hmm.
him being a mammoth, like his full Zoan form, I'm sure that was hell for the
Yep.
Minks in regards to how physically strong that mammoth is, that mammoth form, and
Hmm.
how much pressure they have to deal with from that mammoth form. Because I think with Jack being that Zoan, he's gonna bring forth a lot of defensive capabilities and his overall crazy endurance. Where that's why it's so weird sometimes to kind of place other people and expect them to do what Jack did, because I think Jack is like a unique individual for that specific thing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
And John, just add on to that as well. I think by them switch in and out, it plays into Jack's strength because again,
Yeah,
their ability and
they're
endurance
building
seems
endurance.
exactly seem to be strength as well.
So for him, he's like, that's my game.
Yeah, that's why I
We
get
can we
exactly.
can stretch this out as long as you guys want to.
But in terms of Jack being more comfortable in terms of fighting the Dukes, he did say that in his full zone form, he can't really fight as much as he would want to, where he wouldn't. It would be a bigger target because
Yep.
we saw I think Inarashi
Like
Nekomamushu
slammed him.
grab him by the leg and flip him over.
About a
I
trunk.
think, yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Was it
I
leg
think
or trunk? I forget
I think
exactly.
Inarashi stopped the trunk and
Yeah.
Nekomamushi was
Yeah.
the one
Inarashi
who,
definitely stopped the
yes,
trunk.
stopped the
Yeah.
trunk, yes,
Yeah.
and then Nekomamushi was the one who flipped him over. So he wasn't really comfortable to fight them in that form, but he did get more strength in that form, but he wasn't comfortable.
Yeah.
So I would agree with that hypothesis that hybrid form is indeed the most suitable form to fight in. But again, if you're going for full strength,
Yeah.
I think if you're going for strength, and if you don't have a weapon like Kaido, I think your full form might be the best bet. So here, Luffy, Ulti showed that she can use observation hockey. She asked where's the hockey coming from. Luffy said probably the best line in Wano country so far. He says, I guess I underestimated you. Gotta be someone. This is the Emperor Castle.
Yeah.
Brago. Brago.
uh.
Oh God. That is so beautiful. I would probably frame that quote. Bro, this is what I want to see.
I.
This is what we want to hear and see, Brago. We want to hear this. This is what Luffy should have been saying like 4 chapters ago.
Well, this is what they were saying in Punk Hazard. So
Yes.
it's like, yeah. We want growth, and the thing is,
Yep.
I think a character can grow without changing personality wise, right? Like you can see,
Yeah.
you can see a ton of growth in regards to someone, and it doesn't necessarily they don't have to change as much. They just have to be more aware in certain situations. So, for instance, Shanks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shanks is a lot like Luffy in regards to his playful side, where he's gonna play, he's gonna joke, he's gonna have moments like that. But Shanks has, I don't think Shanks has changed as much as a person or as a character, but I think what's clear is that Shanks has moments in which he understands the moment, right? Where he knows, okay, this isn't the time for jokes. This isn't the time for games. So Shanks can go in and out, and it's like it's never. You don't really have to question if he's going to be laser focused the entire time, right? So it's like for Luffy, he can get serious for a moment, but in just a split second, he can get thrown off his game. Whereas like that's the main thing in regards to development and growth that we want for Luffy. Whereas like, can you get to a place or a point in which you can grow and we're not necessarily worried about you losing focus in these serious moments, because then that takes away from some of the tone that's being set. But it's like it's hard as well because One Piece, it plays with that a lot, where it's serious, then it's joking, then it's a gag, then they're serious, then it's like, oh, okay, now they're really serious. So I remember the Katakuri fight. It's like it was going back and forth. It was serious. It was tense. Luffy's about to die. It was Katakuri's, the name of Katakuri's trident was Needle. I forget the name of it.
Mogura.
Mogura, right? I don't know if I got Needle from, but
Yeah, I think I need it from Bleach. I believe. I'm not sure where
I
Needle come
forget who
from.
Needle come from.
Yeah,
I
I
was
know
thinking
there's somewhere in
Game
anime
of
that Needle.
Thrones. The Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Needle.
But
Arya Stark. Yeah.
yeah, but pretty much that entire moment kind of got snapped by Brule just sitting in the corner.
Yes.
And it was
point.
like, what the hell? And then it was funny, but it was just like completely just shattered all that tension that had been built up, and Luffy runs out of the mirror world. So it's hard in regards to Luffy and his growth and development, because I don't think Oda wants him to change at all, because Luffy is a reflection of One Piece as a story, right? Where Luffy is in One Piece, I was just watching Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me,
Austin
and
Powers.
basically that movie is just a gross exaggeration of everything. From
Oh,
just everything is just entirely exaggerated.
hyperbole and steroids.
Everything is hyperbolic. So for One Piece, that's what it is. Character traits, moments, everything is just amplified so much that is like this is insane. This is
Mhm.
unbelievable. Like Big Mom's overall dream, right? Where it's like I want everyone to be on the same level as me, for everyone to be viewed as equal.
Mhm.
So I'm going to make everyone big and large. And it's
Yeah.
like
As she said, everyone should be an eye level.
everyone should be eye level to me. It's like it's a it's like a good start, but Big Mom went to like the ultimate literal definition of being equal and eye level and everyone being viewed the same way. Where it's like that's what One
It was
Piece is.
it's a good idea in theory, but in
Yeah.
practice, it's kind of hard to adjust.
Yeah.
I would say this though, Luffy made the situation change. If the situation is serious, he got serious. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
So Luffy took Halti by the horns, which again is a very unique, unorthodox type of fighting style from Luffy. He's completely speed blitzer, by the way, which is actually pretty good because again, it
Yeah.
proves that Luffy is pretty fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
He drops her on her head like a seismic toss in a sense. And
Mm-hmm.
then this senior Brago is where when people say stuff about Oda's ability to actually draw fights,
He's
I know
very
Oda
good.
isn't good at fights in terms of like in terms of making the fight in terms of what we want it to be. But, but Oda choreography, oh my god, this is insane. So Luffy stretches with one arm and he dodged page one in the ear. But what happened was before page one could readjust, Luffy went underneath this man in terms of
Mm-hmm.
to make the ear of effect much larger. And in the same time period, as one arm maybe holding on to the ceiling and one
Yeah.
arm in his mouth. And when the next panel comes around, he's off balance.
But he
But
still
the
managed to do a
elephant will
gear
came out.
third.
Yo, that is cool.
It's a really
That is cool.
exemplary action scene because it's showing Luffy's not only his maneuverability but just how
Mhm.
he's thinking a couple steps ahead. And again, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna just throw out, oh my god, future sight. I think it's just Luffy
Mm,
as a combative genius to see just being in so many fights. He knows what he wants to do and has to do. So I think the most impressive thing for me was like how quickly he
he
managed
did
to
that.
gear third punch, right?
Yep.
Because in that split second in which page one looked at him, Luffy managed to
Yes.
go gear third and elephant gun
Elephant.
that
Again,
quickly.
like he's off balance too.
Yeah,
And again, for those who don't understand what I mean by in terms of Luffy, in terms of Luffy being skill, Luffy could have attacked Page One with the next arm when he went over him, but he zapped down. And before Page One could even realize what was going on, his hand's already in his mouth.
yeah,
Gum gum.
yeah,
Boom. That is
yeah.
oh,
It's beautiful. It's
good.
really
It
beautiful.
was an amazing sequence, which again, Oda can
He
do it
can,
for.
he
He can
can.
do it. And for those who don't believe me, read chapter 9, read chapter 895. Luffy versus Katakuri was a well-drawn fight.
Yeah,
That is that was good.
it's the best
So
choreographed fight in One Piece.
in One Piece, some of the best in natural anime as well. Because again, if you look at YouTube and you actually see people's reaction to that fight, they love it.
Yeah, yeah,
They love that fight. It was really good. So anyway, as we said before, Ulti in terms of some to get more power, she goes full dinosaur, which is pretty interesting because a Pachysaurus has the skull of the head is most likely shown, but Ulti's hair hasn't been uprooted. So Oda is still kind of keeping her like female like because this was a guy. The skull would be showing because the Pachysaurus skull is out.
yeah.
So,
It's. mm,
I hope I'm pronouncing that right because I think it's Pachysaurus or Pachycephalsaurus. I'm not really.
I remember, bro. It was rough when I first read it.
It's
Really
rough. It
rough.
is. It is rough.
Pachycephalosaurus.
Yes, Pachycephalosaurus.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It was. I was like, holy shit! Like, what are we doing here?
Okay, and this next scene is the most controversial one because again,
Mhm.
the implication from Luffy saying Gear Fort. This could mean a bunch of stuff. Okay, let me tell you how I interpret this. Do you remember the floor at on the tea party when Katakuri stopped Luffy in chapter 864, I believe, and Jinbei saved him? Luffy would have needed Gear 4 to get out of that from Katakuri.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he didn't need Gear 4 consistently to fight him in the fight. So in my scenario, I think Luffy saying Gear 4 was a testimony to what the situation was in right now, with Ultimate Roy would have needed an ability to
Yeah.
stop that.
Well, it's almost as if like
But it
we have to view this Ultimeteor and Ulti basically having Luffy pinned, right,
exactly that's right.
is akin to Katakuri's stickiness. So
That's why that's why I use the example. It is the exact same thing. You got
so
it.
imagine, right, if Katakuri and the stickiness was a thing throughout the
Consistent.
entire fight, it's over.
It's a bro. Just look
It's
at what happened when
over.
Katakuri is awakening. Luffy need to go careful. It's like, there's no way to
It's
get out of this.
over.
I need
So
careful.
it's like I know people talk about Katakuri's ability to hit Luffy and hurt Luffy. The main thing about Luffy was that he was dodging a lot of the kill shots. That's
Yes.
how Oda was trying to portray it. Like Katakuri had a lot of kill shots, but Luffy was dodging it. The only reason why this is possible is that Katakuri wasn't, his stickiness wasn't working, even though he was in his awakening. Everywhere Luffy went, he was walking in Mochi. He was getting stuck all the time. He's getting hit a lot, except for the kill shots.
Yep.
Look at Ulti. Ulti restrained Luffy here, and he's like, "Oh shit, Gear 4th.
Gear 4.
I need it." Katakuri was doing this to Luffy while he was in Gear 4th, minus the stickiness. The only time the stickiness worked again was that that attack, the donut attack, the
Dice Mochi.
Dice Mochi.
Yep.
And even then, it's crazy that Luffy just got right back up after that because
That
of
was
the
crazy.
impact.
He only lost a tooth.
You know, so
it's insane.
I don't want to harp on that, but it just shows
Yeah,
how like the ability
it
to
does.
restrain someone, how important it is, and that's why people make a thing about the stickiness because it is a huge factor.
It is very important. Mobility in any fight is great.
Yeah.
So people are saying that for Luffy thinking he can go Gear 4, which of course he needs to blow into his muscles. Luffy uses his fingers to do it. People are saying, well, he's restrained. How can he do that? Well, it's like versus Cracker where Luffy was was being crushed by Cracker.
Yeah.
But for some reason he slipped his arm through and just goes Gear 4. It's more of a stuff for Oda just kind of just you find some way to justify it, even though technically they're kind of right because
Yeah.
Ulti does hold him by both arms. He shouldn't be able to move.
Yeah.
But again, he's a shonen.
It's almost as if you can somewhat make the case that Luffy is
As a different way to go.
he's gotten better with
Gear
Gear
4?
4th and he's found a different way to go that way, but it's like it's almost a stretch because even in the way he said Gear 4th, it was like, Gear 4, right? It wasn't like the normal Gear 4th, right? It was just like
Okay,
damn.
so what you mean. Okay, so what you mean. Okay.
Where it's like he's almost as if I might need Gear 4th here. You know, so it's like it's not really confirmation, but it's a way of Oda telling us maybe I want you guys to hypothesize that Luffy may have gotten better in this form. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good and
Yeah.
and again that also have more validity because again when Oda portrayed Luffy long kid on the ship, Luffy went Gear 4
Yeah. Gonna Gear 4.
casually.
Yeah. He did.
But just to clarify, I don't think Ulti can fight Luffy in Gear 4. I do believe that's the situation that got him in needed to get Gear 4 to get out of it. But in terms of a 1v1 fight, I don't think so. I mean,
Gear 4th is such a weird like power for me just because I think some people they just look at Gear 4th as like they look at the peak of Gear 4th, right? And like, oh my God, Gear 4th is so strong. If Luffy didn't have that drawback, he'd be insane. He'd be Yonko. I'm like, okay. The reason why Gear 4th is so strong is because of the drawback.
Because of the
we have
drawback,
to understand
exactly.
like equivalent exchange in his part, where it's like he's
It's restricting
sacrificing.
limitations.
It's a
Yep.
lot he's giving up after that initial bump to get that strong. So as strong as Gear Fourth is, we can't just say, oh, if we remove that drawback, Luffy, no, because the
No,
drawback
no, no.
exists. That's a
That's a
part.
very good point. That's a
that's a part of it,
exactly.
right? Where
That's a
once
confirmed. Mhm.
as Luffy gets stronger, of course, the drawback is going to be less and less, but that's just him getting stronger and growing, and he's fighting stronger people. But trying to classify him in the upper echelon, even though he has this insane drawback, is just mind blowing to me.
It is. That's a very good point. This also goes with Hunter x Hunter with Kite. People need to understand this. When Kite complains about getting a bad spin and he can't be selective with his spins, that's the reason why it's so strong. It's a limitation
Yeah.
which gave him more strength.
Yeah.
If you remove the limitation, it wouldn't be
It
as
wouldn't be
strong.
that strong. It wouldn't be that strong.
Strong.
Like,
that's the whole point.
of it. Yeah, that's the entire point of it.
Good point. Good point, Rago. So the big man, which again, this is very insane. Yamato is not some meme. He's not the Momonosuke 2.0 where he's dependable. He's pretty good.
He is a strong guy. I mean,
Yep.
not sure if fault he's done. She might be.
No.
I'm talking about like because we see her fall, right? Like
It's the white eyes. Yeah.
white eyes, and in the next panel, she looks like she fell.
Yes.
So, I think she's obviously not done this arc, but that is impressive.
It's an impression, but again, let's be fair, Brago.
She was off guard.
Let's be fair. Not only is she off guard, but her arms, which is her main tool to fight, is holding somebody else.
Yeah. Right, so basically he clipped. It's like the Odin thing, right? Where Odin turned his back and Kaido comes with a fucking incredible attack to the back of the head. Like that's gonna knock out. Like look at Luffy and how he got temporarily knocked out from Apu, right? Like if someone with significant strength comes and they do that to you when you're completely off guard, like you're gonna get the white eyes. But I think there's a lot of speculation here in regards to how strong Yamato could be. Like we can speculate a lot about how strong he is.
I have a very good explanation as to why I think he probably caps at the Flying Six level, but that explanation might have some holes in it because again, it doesn't take into account potential, and it kind of makes the assumption that Yamato's Tonwa Bagua is one of his best attacks. And again, if I'm wrong and this is just one of the casual attacks, then that's insane.
But I think he
probably
has, I would say, one or two better attacks.
I'll probably say that
guessing,
too.
Right?
I'll probably say that too.
Yeah. But even still, he's a huge guy. He's saying he's Kaido's son. So I think being a Yonko's son is a lot of expectations, right? And I'm assuming this is Kaido's eldest and maybe his only. So with this situation, it's like huge expectations. And it's funny how the community reacts in this situation where it's like, where they expect so much from Yamato, right? Oh my God, he's Kaido's son. He must be strong. But then when you talk about the potential of Katakuri, it's like, yeah, but Katakuri.
Yeah, exactly. It's also very weird because Katakuri, like Marco, has become somewhat of a Yonko candidate where your individual crews and also external sources have confirmed that they probably could succeed their captain if need be.
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of ignore that and also ignore the fact that Katakuri.
The only reason why I ignore it is because of
has the King's Haki.
He has King's Haki.
He's like, people don't even remember that.
He has a King's Haki. He's definitely a great leader. Sacrifice, loyalty.
Yep. You can make the argument that Katakuri holding his true personality hostage could have a lot to do with his strength. Because again, if he's free,
now he's free. Now he can basically fight the way he wants to, right? Because because imagine, right, if you're trying to hide a secret, like a part of you is kind of suppressed. Because I think now, like, say Katakuri, I mean, this could be a conversation to have another day as far as like Katakuri and a new personality. And this could lead to basically a new creativity as a fighter, where it's like you and people, it's like this is applying a lot of real world logic to it, but this is like what we do anyway. But it's just sometimes when you're suppressed or when you're just restricted by certain things, it affects your life. It affects everything in your life. Right, just everything is affected by this issue. You rid yourself of that issue. It's like a weight, is off his
Yep.
shoulders, and now everything is back to normal. And because it's been like decades of this, he could be a completely different person, like literally
Yes.
a completely different individual in regards to interactions and just how he's going about his daily life. And I would assume as well, his combative prowess, because now it's like I don't have to hide anymore. Like I
Yes.
can emulate donuts as much as I want to, and
Yeah, yeah,
imagine, you
exactly.
know what I'm saying? Like I can do it as much as I want. I don't have to like pretend I'm just this guy that doesn't fall on his back. And bro, I can fight exactly how I want to fight
Do I
and
want to
be who
fight?
I really am.
There are in-story examples that you can point to. I mean, look at Bruno. When Bruno got knocked out by Luffy, Rob Lucci said that, of course, being stagnant like you were, being a bartender, absolutely would make you weaker. But on the opposite side, Kaku, who became the mountain wind in Water 7, seemed to have gotten stronger because of his job.
Yeah,
So different personality, different traits,
yeah,
like, different stuff can indeed improve your mental state and also make you very strong.
yeah.
You can make the same argument for Marco as well. Again, I don't believe Marco can be as strong as he was at Marineford.
Um,
The
but
willpower isn't there anymore.
yeah, Will is a huge part of it. Will is a huge
Will is
part.
a very huge part. And again, I
Um,
could name you some more examples of willpower actually affecting characters, but I have to research about it because I don't remember so much off the top of my head. But there
uh,
are examples in series
the tough part about willpower is that it's not
where will
quantitative, right? Like you, is it's
precisely.
it's literally just whatever, right? It's
Eh,
just
Yep.
that's literally what it is.
It
So
was out of
whatever
my
order
mouth.
needs it to be at the time.
Mhm.
So it's difficult, man. It's
It
really
is a
difficult.
very difficult thing. But category praise, which again, I think we can all agree that we love category. I do a lot. He's a very good character. Okay, I can't
Absolutely.
wait to see him again. So Ulti might have a Queen moment where Queen got knocked out by Big Mom initially, but he got up and got things done. But
Yeah.
I would imagine Ulti's out of commission for now. For now, or at least say for now.
Yeah.
So Master Yamato, is that young Master Yamato? Why is he what is he doing here? Why did he attack Ulti? Okay, the reason why I think Yamato might have been the flying six level and caps there is because of the interaction that we know that he has with them previously.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Yamato on capturing Yamato isn't a impromptu task by King. Ulti said it before. This most likely would be Kaido's family issue. So if the Flying Six couldn't interact with Yamato or at least capture him, they wouldn't have done it before because Ulti said they did this before and it's not what Kaido asked them to do. Family issue. So
Yeah.
I think they're capable of capturing him. It's just that this time Yamato might have grown from the last time, and this time he might have been more determined because Luffy's here and he wants to strategically move around them and strike when necessary. Where before might just hide, and if they find him. And the next thing why I think Yamato isn't really that strong is again the plot point with Huzu and Sasaki. Now imagine this, Brago. Huzu's if Yamato is truly like first command level as some people think he is, who there's no way Huzus could actually think about capturing Yamato and competing against a calamity
Right after.
afterwards. That is insane. So I don't think he's actually that strong. Unless Kaido intended to schedule a fight weeks later, which again I don't
Yeah.
believe because again this is a fire festival. So that kind of confirmed to me at least that if Oda wanted Uzu and Sasaki to fight the calamities after, Yamato wouldn't be that big of a threat in terms of capturing him. That's kind of my interpretation of that. Well,
Okay.
again, you can disagree, but that's kind of how I
No,
see him
I'm
here.
not. I'm not mad at that at all because it makes a lot of sense.
But trust me, there are
But
some people who think
yeah,
he's ridiculously strong.
yeah. I think in my review I talked about him possibly just being around the Toby rope or whatever, right?
I think that's where it is.
Right. But people like heavily disagreed with me. They're like, "Yo, they think the only person that's competing with him is King." Da 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 da. I'm like,
Which is crazy, bro.
right? Where I'm like, "Whoa!" Where I'm gonna talk about it in the video. I'm like, was I lowballing Yamato? Which I don't think I was because it's like
No.
we just don't have enough yet. But I'm gonna talk about it. But it's just like I was surprised at how many people felt like he was that strong.
A lot of people were saying this as a reason why King and the Calamities never went up for Yamato in the first place. They were saying that there probably be some bad blood between Yamato and King. I don't think that's sufficient evidence to justify why King would let him be, because I don't think Kaido would take Yamato's likes and dislikes into account when he sends someone to capture him. I don't think it would be like, okay, Yamato don't like King, so let's leave King out of this. I don't think that would be the case. I think they assess his powers and pretty much says these guys can go for him. Plus, again, remember, this is something that Ulti have hinted that they have done before.
Yeah.
She said it's Kaido's usual family issue. So they probably captured him before. It's just that this time there's something attached to capture him, which is a chance to fight the Calamities. So it's much more important.
Yeah, it's the Yamato thing is a very interesting thing.
It is.
Yamato is I think for the Yonko, we always view them. They have X factors, characters that outside of their normal combative structure that could be a deciding factor in major fights. And I think Yamato is that for Kaido outside of his commanders and the Tobiropo, and like for Big Mom outside of like her sweet commanders and her like officers beneath that with Daifuku and other than those guys. You have someone like Pearl
yes,
a lot of people view like Mihawk like that for Shanks, etc.
I see what you mean.
And Whitebeard, he has like just in regards to just strictly 1 to 5 as far as his commanders, they seem to be all very fucking powerful. Whereas like for most of the other Yonko, it seemed like after 3 it's like a drop, right? Where for Whitebeard, from if we're counting all the people that used to be with him, right? We go from Odin to Marco to Vista to Jozu, Ace.
And if you factor in the fact that Tactical become the darkness-free user as well, which would have been insane.
Whitebeard would have like
a darkness-free user in his crew.
Clearly
the strongest crew.
The strongest crew. Like even superior to Roger.
Even versus Roger. Yeah, even versus Roger.
Right? Which a lot of people, they're not ready to have the conversation. But if Whitebeard, and let's not even mention like someone like Blackbeard, who was not a commander, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't even want to talk about people like Rakio, who we're not sure exactly how strong he is, the Whitey Bay, those people that has been with him for a long time, and the strength they possess. So, at one point we'll have the conversation about like how truly dominant Whitebeard's crew could have been, but I think Yamato's an X factor. But as far as how strong he is, I think Pearl, if I had to gauge him, he's probably around. Like,
I think around Pearl.
He's around. I think Pearl could probably beat a commander, but I don't think he's beating Katakuri or Smoothie, right? So I think for Yamato, he can maybe beat Jack, but I don't think he's beating King or Queen, right? So it's like but it's fun to speculate because of what he comes with and the fact that he seems to be a literally
Odin fanboy.
Well, Odin fanboy, but also he's trained in the Kaido arts.
You could call it that,
yeah. He was using the exact same attack, like
Kaido.
So I guess to shoot the people some bail that talk about Katakuri, if Katakuri came out and his first attack was like fucking
Elbat Spear, just like
Big Mom, people be like, oh shit.
Yep.
Right. People be like, oh shit, this guy is like that's like the successor. That's who Big Mom chose to succeed her, right? It's funny because the person who has the most similar fighting style as far as with the sword to Big Mom is Smoothie.
Yes, it would be Smoothie. Yeah.
But we just haven't seen anything
that's
from
Cracker
her
as well.
Yeah. But I was talking about like Smoothie, like firing fucking shockwave slashes across the water.
Yep. And absorbing things, same way Big Mom would absorb. So there's something interesting here where I'm trying to gauge to see what the situation is with Page One, because again, I don't think he's out from an elephant gun. But at the exact same time, there's no justification as to why he hasn't gotten up. Even since we have seen Luffy and Yamato had a conversation in the midst of where they knock Ulti out.
Yeah.
We don't see Page One at all, which is kind of weird.
I think Page One, when we go back again, he's probably looking at Ulti because they seem
he's fine.
Yeah.
Should be fine.
Yeah, I think he's just I I think he's literally just checking on Ulti because Ulti just got knocked out. So I
Yeah.
think once we go back, it's gonna be page one. Like he's probably gonna be steaming because
Yes.
they seem to
Oh, shit.
have like
A
that
connection.
relationship and that connection where it's like if anything happens to one of them, they get mad. So we may see the best of page one going forward.
That'd be great. And one more thing again, where Oda is similarly to what I just said that the initial individual who were trying to capture Luffy, Kid, Killer, and Zoro was the gifters, and then Oda seemed to generalize the mission to everyone. It seemed the exact same thing for Yamato, where the Flying Six was first the one that was recruited, and the only ones that we see that Kaido specifically get a task to capture Yamato. But here, everyone is trying to capture him now,
Yeah, yeah,
which just made the situation even more chaotic. I wish I would assume that seeing the noise that it's making would attract Uzus, because again, I think he's one that I'm really waiting to see. I really want to see Uzus, and I think Yamato will be the best attractant to actually get him here,
yeah,
especially since we know that he was in the area. So I'm
yeah,
hoping that Yamato brings him in, and then we get to see a clash between him and Luffy or Zoro or someone or him and Yamato.
yeah.
Okay, so to dive into the chapter where the part of the chapter where we're gonna need the biggest head cannons and speculations. Okay, so what do you think influenced Yamato's decision to one wait for Luffy, hit ulti, and somewhat mimic Odin's attire? Do you think it's because he was influenced by Odin? Is Oda being coincidental where he wants the audience to believe that? Or is Yamato just simply just an unruly kid? I mean, just like his
Mm.
father. I mean,
Um,
which where do you see it?
there's a lot of ways we can go with it. One
Mhm.
thing is that he just don't really doesn't like his dad.
Yep.
Another thing, I made a theory about it, and this is
Father
all
theory.
based
With Toki.
on Toki and
Hmm.
whether or not she's alive. But I think she could have had influence even before she died.
Hmm.
Where one of the things that Oda kind of highlighted and purposely is that Toki left Odin in the midst of his travels to go back to Wano, and she's in Wano for a while without Odin. Um,
Then just
uh,
start speaking about his
right.
journeys.
And the thing is,
There's
Toki said like she went down and she was basically telling the stories of Odin to the people, and that after
yes.
by the time Odin got back, Toki and her kids they were loved by the people of Wano. So
Hmm.
for Yamato, assuming he's a younger kid, he's probably raised in Wano, right? And if he's
Yes.
raised in Wano, he's probably a kid that snuck away, went to the village, went to the capital. And if he
Okay,
heard
and
about
heard
these
this.
stories of Odin and all this stuff, he could have been influenced by Odin. And
That
for
would have been great.
Toki, maybe somebody that had a relationship with Toki because people were talking about like Yamato and his attire, right? Like, oh my god, he has the same things Odin used to wear.
And
Um,
also Toki as well.
Toki wore those same
Hmm.
things, so it's like I think the main person that was responsible for the influence is Toki because,
Hmm.
and I think he obviously looks up to Odin because of everything that Toki spread about him. So how did he know about Luffy? Um, if Toki's not dead and she did indeed travel to the future, like because Odin told her to use her power, right? And we assume
Hmm.
she used the power to take the people 20 years into the future. But Odin also gave her information, right? There's a panel where Odin
Yes.
gave her some documents. We're not sure what it said. She
I
read it and then she ripped it up.
then strip it up. Yeah.
So that means she would have to transfer this information verbally in some way,
Yes.
right? So if Toki did this, right, and with her dying breath, she went to the future, she went to 20 years and talked to the older Yamato, right? Basically, or she could have talked to the younger one and
Hmm.
told him about what's to come. And in this instance, I think this gives some credence to the Joy Boy theory as far as like Luffy's hat is that's the reason why it was locked away is because that is an indication of uh, basically the next coming of Joy Boy. I do think
Okay.
people were saying, well, other people have had that hat. Like, why didn't just know Luffy? Well, it's like a lot of people have straw hats. Like, right, a lot
Yeah.
of like that's not the only straw hat in existence. But I think now with Luffy being as prominent as he is and all the things he's accomplished, the people, the powers that be, they've taken notice. And now they're like, okay, more than likely, this is the kid. This is the guy we really have to worry about. So, um, personally, I think going back to Yamato, the person that, um, that influenced him. It's Yamato. It's Odin and Toki for the most
Okay,
part.
let me give you my interpretation of what I think happened, and I'll tell you what I think I, I'll tell you the issue I have with the theory that you give a while ago. I
Yeah.
have two issues. If Toki was speaking about Odin's journey and actually speak about stuff that would be important in regards to indicating that on the Odin is trying to go to Raftel or something like that,
Yeah.
you have to explain why Kanjuro didn't report that information to Orochi and Kaido. So either going to say that he wasn't there when she was speaking about Odin's journey, or maybe he just simply forgot. And the second thing is that when Toki you said that Toki might have went to the future.
Yeah.
Toki said that Wano Country and Dine with Odin was her terminal, that she would not go for it again.
Right. She
So
did say that.
it
She
said
did
that
say that. She
was
did. She
where
didn't even
she.
get upset at Odin when Odin mentioned that. Like, hey, do you want to just
Mhm.
go to the future? But I think it's a part of it where it's like it comes down to basically want and duty. Where
Oh,
at some point did Toki just really accept and realize that coming to Wano, traveling with Odin, having his kids, learning of his adventures, and doing everything there was part of her duty, and now her duty is to pass on this message. So
okay.
for
Mhm.
Toki, she could have died right there, but how could you pass on a message? Something that was interesting is like I was rereading that chapter where Toki died. It was like the people of Wano were around her,
Yes.
like they were all right there. So I wonder if because they shot her, right? But
Hmm.
then you heard somebody say like Lady Toki, where
Hmm.
like a lot of people were just around the area. Where it's like, is it far fetched that they nursed her back to health? But the issue is like, all right, so where has Toki been this entire time?
I
If she did indeed get saved and they took her back, where was she this entire time, and who did she relay this information to? Because she had information she absolutely had to relate.
okay. So you're right. She could have our goal in terms of she trying to doubt Odin being a terminal could have evolved to her saying, okay, I need to do more.
Yeah,
But the issue, the reason why I would argue that she's absolutely dead is due to Orochi's fear of the samurais. Orochi seems to be convinced that Odin is dead and she's dead and not the scabbards, is because he has visual proof and evidence of their bodies.
yeah.
That's what he wanted for the scabbards. So if Orochi didn't find Toki's body, we'd argue that he'll be saying the exact same thing about her as he said about the scabbards.
The crazy thing about that is that like with Toki, the
Mhm.
person that did anything to her was like the Beast Pirates. So I don't know. I don't know.
No, no, no. Well, I have to remember that when Kinemon went to address Orochi when he executed the work on his family, and they launched a counter attack and Toki got shot in the leg. That was Orochi's plan. He wanted to kill her. He wanted to kill them all. So I don't think that it's only the Beast part that have an issue with her. I think Orochi would also fear her as well. Because I mean, remember, the prophecy that she gave is what is sending spine. Is sending spine chilling feelings
Yeah,
to Orochi. So unless he could confirm that she's dead, I think he would have been the exact same with her, just as he is with the Scabbards, where he wanted to see her body. But for that he isn't,
yeah,
kind of confirms to me that he's pretty confident that she's dead.
yeah. That could be a thing. That could be a
Yeah,
thing.
it's kind of the way I can interpret it. But you are right though. Her goal was to transfer the information of Odin to
Mm-hmm.
somebody else. But there's one other way which it can be done. And that is again through Odin's journal. That is something Oda has not brought up entirely
But the
up
thing
to now.
is,
Where the
how do we
journal.
know what was given to Toki was not like parts of the journal?
Well, we saw Odin
Because
writing
it was like yeah. Go ahead.
we saw Odin writing it. I think it was chapter 9. It was chapter 976 where Odin was walking with Toki and he had the paper in his arm and he look behind her. So it seemed like he had the papers and the notes written down. I think the journal is completely different. Where the journal is like a book. It's not a page. Unless he rips the pages out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Well,
don't
I
know.
mean, there could have
I
been
don't know.
pages from the journal, like there'd be important
Yeah.
pages that she needs to transfer.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's I think this is great by Oda, where it's
It is.
like, and then going back to Toki Scar, it's like, it's
He's like
just
that
an
fun way to
Oda
differentiate her.
thing, yeah,
Yes.
to like
Bring that
either
scar up again.
yeah, for a way to either either she's dead, right? But that's going to be a way where she's described. Like, yeah, I met a woman.
Yes.
She was
She had a
shot.
scar.
She had a
Yep.
scar on her leg, and she told me all these stories about this guy, and it was like that influenced me. So it's like the person that's in the midst of this has to be Toki. That's the only way we can justify Yamato and
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, and yeah.
his attire and him just waiting for Luffy. The only person that would know this information and to have him wait for that long is fucking Toki. That's the only
The point.
person, bro.
The thing that would actually shock me, that would actually convince me that he is indeed influenced, at least in part, by Odin, is if he said this place is too cramped. If you regurgitate Odin's famous words, that would pretty much cement it to me that yes, Oda is indeed drawing the parallel here.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you can even tell like the
He
fact
wants
that
to
he
leave.
wants to leave
Yeah, exactly
in
the
a
same
way
thing.
like he. The thing is, it's like I think it's important that Oda showed like the shackles that he's bound by, that
Yep.
now they're still on his arms, but he's kind of broken free from them.
Mhm.
Whereas like maybe the shackles of the expectations created by his father, he's like it's showing that he's kind of breaking away from them as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's symbolic, and
Yeah.
again, it would go back to what happened to Odin when he went to Curry, when he said this. When they say once you enter, you can't leave, and he said that's the worst thing for him. You kind of, in terms of philosophy, in a sense, Yamata could mimic that in terms of the fact that he mimics that, but not really Odin himself. Where even Odin might have that in common, but only that in common. In the same context, Momonosuke and Kaido is a dragon, but they don't share any other similarities besides just being a dragon.
Yeah.
Could be that word, but again, I do agree that he might have read the journal about Luffy coming and all that. I do need to agree, and somebody might tell him about the Luffy's
Yeah.
exploration in coming. Because he said he waiting for Luffy for a very long time. So
Yeah.
that's
It's
premeditated.
yeah. It's I
It's
think
very interesting.
it's showing that there's stuff in with the past and the future that we really have to think about that I think is really important here. You know.
It is. And again, I don't think Yamato's gonna join the Shroud group, but I do think for the time being where the goals ally, it will definitely help.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so do you see Oda using Yamato as somewhat a chink in Kaido's armor where you will be the one to explain Kaido's origins, abilities, what
I
makes
don't see why
Kaido
not. I don't see why not. You might as well. You might as
God.
well. I think
That's what I don't want.
yeah, I understand it. I think this is a way in which you can
Mhm,
I suppose bring some realistic reasoning to how Kaido could probably go down, right?
mhm.
Like it's like we need that. We need uh some reasons and some logic behind Kaido going down.
Right
So
now, I think we need more than just to recognize that Luffy needs an ability to pass through Kaido's dragon skills. We have to consider how will be Kaido in terms of weaponry, in terms of skill, in terms of haki, willpower. So I think Yamato could indeed give Luffy the blueprint in a sense
yeah,
what Kaido's weakness is. Then again, I would also argue that Yamato, the reason why Kaido locked Yamato away isn't because he hates him, because Kaido doesn't want to use him as leverage against him. And because he's not as big as he's not as big as category where he can become this reliable person. Kaido fear that people might capture him and hold him hostage.
yeah.
And I remember we must think about Yamato through the lens of the fact that Kaido said he has a very special announcement to
And it involves him.
and yeah, exactly, and it involves him. So
Yeah,
again, none that he wants to leave in terms of the fact that he been waiting for Luffy for a very long time, and it implies that he wants to end Kaido's regime, or at least he wants to. At least he seems like he has. He's in agreement with
yeah.
Luffy's goal, at least his short term goals.
That
Uh,
announcement is important, man, because
I
it's
don't,
like
exactly. I'm gonna draw a parallel here. Have you ever seen Avatar: Last Airbender?
yeah,
Do you know Fire Ozai in terms of he rules the Fire Nation?
yeah,
Okay, when the day of the eclipse comes, he did something completely unexpected, where he gained greater power, and then he promoted himself from being Fire Lord to be the Phoenix Lord, where he appointed his daughter to rule the Fire Nation, but ascended himself. So again, I
To
wonder
rule
if
the entire
Kaido
nation.
exactly. So I wonder if Kaido and Big Mom probably spoke about having a common goal, having a common headquarters, and Kaido is like, okay, Yamato is gonna be announced to rule here. And that could also ties into what Yamato knows, why he wants
Okay.
to leave.
So Yamato could be
Exactly.
the new king of
The
Onigashima.
king, exactly. And he doesn't want to do that. He wants to actually leave.
I like that. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah. That's gonna be one of the reasons why it's all happening here, where this time he cannot be captured. Because if he is, he's gonna be forced to do something that he doesn't want to do. Yeah,
I
so
don't
kind
know, bro.
of
I don't know. That's.
because to be fair, Brago, the alliance between Big Mom and Kaido cannot work if you're in two different locations. They're not gonna be completely strong as they should be. They have to be a common headquarter, a common system where each group is incorporated into the next. And I can't see that being Wano. It's not big enough, doesn't have the resources, the know-hows. And again, when you have one means of transportation where you can get from one place to the next, and that being the Magudo port
Yeah.
in Akomai, that is awful, bro. Because again, imagine if you burn the port down. That means Kaido cannot leave unless he goes over the waterfalls.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is, and that could be the reason why Kaido didn't tell Big Mom about the port. Because again, that information is valuable.
Yeah. Because then it's like it's
If you
easier.
destroy that,
Yeah.
if you destroy that, you pretty much trap him in one country for a very long time because he can't leave. Well, he can leave because
He can leak it and
he,
fly.
he can fly, but he came
As
up.
far as
He's
his
hard to
forces,
mobilize.
yeah,
Exactly, he can't go anywhere.
that's
Yes,
interesting.
so yes, yes. So definitely, I don't think they can actually stay in one country. That
Yeah.
doesn't fit. Doesn't
So the
fit at all.
announcement
Like
could be like the promotion of
yes,
Yamato to the
of
leader
Yamato,
of the
these
leader.
parts while him and Big Mom goes on and
Yeah.
do something else.
Yeah. But that I'm sure that'd be weird for a lot of people like Yamato. Like, why the hell is that
Exactly.
fucking abhorrent kid? Why is he the
Yeah.
fucking leader? Yo.
That's what I want because again that will show the Kaido is he's matured and actually thinking ahead. But let's wait and see if Oda make Yamato wearing Oden's neo-nashi tie like Toki somewhat of an influence or just a design because Oda likes to fuck with people.
Yeah.
So let's see if that actually means something or if it doesn't. And going by the Toki's um um the Toki's introduction, she wearing down the tie. Toki had a sword, which again, I don't know where that sword is. Just a random thought, but where is Toki's sword? There's so many stuff in one that I just need to know where they are. Odin's journal, Toki's sword.
Yeah. It is a lot that we need to know exactly where they
It's a
are.
lot. I think Yuri might get that sword. I think that's the sword I would have intended to give to her. That's the chapter in Yamato. Yamato is being chased, and he's telling Luffy that he means no harm.
Yeah.
Luffy staying true, doesn't sense any hostility from him, which goes back to Luffy and what he did with Rayleigh, where he says that personality and anger is also observation hockey. Look if you can sense that. And Yamato said he'd be waiting for you for a very long time. Again, time is subjective in One Piece. That could be weeks, months,
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
We have no idea, but he says a very long time. So that could mean, as Brago said, someone influenced him. And again, it makes sense to be Toki because, again, Oda specified that she was, again, preaching the gospel of Odin. So he probably have heard it.
Yeah.
So he said, I'm Kaido's son. Luffy says, huh. That's the chapter. I would say it's one of the best chapters I read in Wano County so far.
Yeah,
It was
it's a top 5 chapter of Wano.
it
Even
was
with
very
all the fucking crazy shit that's happened in Wano, where we have like insane moments with like with the Law Hawkins, the sword stuff. Like I'm not even. I'm gonna leave out the chapters outside of Wano. Even leaving those out, this is a top 5 chapter.
It is. It's a very good chapter. It flows very well. It gives so many updates on where things are. And again, the sequence of Luffy to page one was amazing.
Yeah.
Ulti's competency, Yamato's introduction, beasts, pirates, and them just again confirming to us, the audience, that they were indeed at one point challengers for the Pirate King seat. But Kaido is so dominant that they decided to follow him.
Yeah.
Oda gave information on Kid's group, gave information on Big Mom, gave information on Monosuke, gave information on Sanji. Like, this was a very, very, very good chapter on Perospero. Like, so much is in this chapter. Like, this is a perfect chapter going a 2 week break from.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
this chapter was just great.
Yeah. I fuck with
So
it
with
a lot.
that being said, we've been here for about 1.5 hours. I mean, 2 hours. I mean, we could go on a lot more. There's more stuff I want to talk about, but again, we have to cut it short because I've worked in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
But we have to cut it short.
We can incorporate
It,
it to the next week.
yes,
Yeah,
there's
with that
definitely
chapter.
gonna be
Yeah.
some more. And again, we need to
Yep.
get this out quite
Early.
as quickly because
Yeah.
the spoilers. So you guys who
spoilers
don't know,
are
the spoilers are coming out pretty quick.
it's insane actually.
They're probably gonna be out in the next hours or so.
Yeah.
It's crazy because we know this information. I read this information at the same time. I read this 2 weeks ago after we finished recording.
Yeah.
I saw it. I'm like, shit. Yamato's introduction. Yamato is introduced. I'm like, God damn it. Well, anyway, so guys, thanks for checking this out. Again, trying to be consistent as possible as we can be. Next chapter is gonna be an amazing one. I hope next chapter, Oda revealing Yamato's identity and his personality, his motive. But then again, this is Oda. We probably won't get that till next year. But
Yep.
but good chapter nonetheless.
Yeah.
Great chapter.
For
With
sure.
that being said, Lando checking out. Exodus.
Peace.
Now, this was a very good chapter, bro. One of the chapter that I actually enjoy reading, bro. This was very